A lot of times when we're talking about this Prediction X effort in many different venues, people say, oh, you must be doing a lot about astrology, because they know I'm an astronomer.
Right, right.
And I say, no, actually I know nothing about astrology, but given how many people are very, very interested in their own horoscope today, and people have been interested in that for generations, we really thought it was important to include an expert astrologer, modern astrologer, in the course, not Isaac Newton, who's an expert old astrologer.
When I think of astrology, I think of it's man in astronomy. You know, it's this kind of how it might affect that person, those planets around that person. So when we look at a chart, we are looking at the center as if you were standing in the center, and the center's Earth.
Okay.
Okay, so obviously, you know, the solar system's, it would be heliocentric.
Right.
But when we look at it, we're looking at it from you on the Earth and what the planets are symbolizing about you.
Is there any kind of like physical connection between the actual pull of planets, for example, on a person and what is forecast for them?
Everything's interconnected.
Okay.
And so that's my sense, and that the movements do affect us. And I'm not sure what it is, but I can tell you after years of working with people in charts, it's uncanny what a chart reveals and what the movements of the planets or stars can say about the person and what's going to happen.
You got me very curious now.
So I'm not sure what the exact connection. I know there's a connection.
Okay.
You know, and from observation, personal observation.
Right.
You know, not just going on faith, but that this is amazing how, you know, certain things just come over
if I
over and
understand,
over.
A lot of it is like people have done this kind of astrology for thousands of years, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but they've kind of learned more and more about what kind of things you can predict from the positions of planets.
Exactly. I think a lot of this is in some ways pattern recognition. You know, when you have certain combinations, certain things tend to happen. And
now, would the same things happen for all people born at the same time in the same place?
No. And that's what that's where it's interesting. So I was just going to say, I don't believe that everything's set in stone. You know, I believe that there's basic patterns, and then we have this free will to move within these patterns.
Okay.
So you'll see some people with a certain configuration that's very pronounced, and you'll go, oh, that person's going to be very successful, or they can do, and maybe that doesn't fully materialize. And if they had somebody else born on that date at that place is important too, at that time, which is very important at the time, they may completely, you know, fulfill that potential that we're reading in the chart. Astrology, because it's so intricate, is about the relationships between that planet and the sign, which means the part of the sky it was in, and how it's relating to the other planets and relating to Earth at a particular time or particular day or a particular place.
What would you say is the balance among your clients of people who are very seriously looking to you for advice about, you know, business decisions and their love life and whatever, and then other people who are just kind of curious and want to have the experience of knowing their horoscope?
In my practice, I would say I'm about 85% more serious guidance, and maybe 15 to 20% more of the curious.
Got it. Do you ever give people bad news?
Well, I don't look at anything as bad or good. I look at it all as energy. I'll tell people what to look for.
Okay.
Yeah. I can tell when there's going to be a lot of change.
Right.
Okay, I can tell when somebody's going to go, they're going to need to let something big go. Okay, so I can tell if there's something going on maybe with Pluto working or Saturn aspecting Pluto, that they're going to have to let a way of being go, or there's some aspect of their lifestyle that needs to change. Okay. And my feeling is, I'm kind of an optimist anyway, but my feeling is that how I read astrology is it's a way to understand ourselves and our lives to help us. So if there are the more difficult, or you're saying bad or challenging aspects, I ultimately see it from the big picture is trying to help us evolve.
Given that we were talking about this being a long tradition and that people didn't know Pluto was even there, or that it was a planet or a dwarf planet or whatever we want to call it, but something in the solar system, does it have new significance because it exists, or?
Well, I understand your question. So yeah, we didn't read the 3 outer planets, right, until the last, 150 years or so. And so we wouldn't have looked at that probably as aspecting Pluto. This is your map of you.
Okay.
And this
My
is
universe.
This is your universe.
Got
this
it.
is giving
Okay.
me like a Polaroid
Okay.
of what was in the sky.
Okay.
Okay. And so when you were born, and we need the place, the date, but we need the time to be really accurate.
Okay.
Because as you know, the planet's rotating 24 hours. So what's coming up over the horizon's changing every 2 hours roughly. And that's called your ascendant. This sets the tone of the whole chart. So what's rising in the sky is setting the whole tone for you in terms of how it's like the lens you see life through.
Okay.
That's called your ascendant or rising sign.
Okay.
Your rising sign is Libra. And Libra is an air sign. So this is more working with the intellect. Libra is also about balance. Libra's the scales, right? So we have balance, we have diplomacy. It's very partnership oriented, wanting to work together with other people and teams. So the houses are fields of influence. In your case, 9th house up here, top of the chart, is representing higher education. It's representing developing the mind. It's representing foreign travel. It's expansion of what's possible in the world.
So let me back up for a second. So this is about, what we've been saying is about sort of kind of person I might be, what kind of personality I have, and then does this kind of horoscope get more specific about events that are going to happen in the future, or just people's tendencies?
No, we do both.
Okay.
So this is your map. This is your star map. This is giving me a blueprint. This is your basic makeup.
Okay.
Okay, as an astrologer to look at it. This is permanent for you. So then what we do is we can look at any particular time in a person's life.
Okay.
Now, when people come to see me, they're usually looking at what's going on now, or maybe this next year, or roughly at this time. And so I do what's called a transit. There's different things you can do. I do a transits chart because it's most literal. It's literally where the planets are and transiting, in the orbit, and how they may be aspecting your birth chart. So what we do is when we look at predictions, we're looking at what is that nature and what may be aspecting it. Maybe what is what's another word I can use for that? What is playing on it?
Okay.
So basically it's another way of saying what's up for you.
Okay, yeah, what's up for me?
What's up for you? One of the things that does jump at me is that you've had this is Uranus in Aries. It's been in Aries since about March. The planet Uranus has been in Aries since, I think, March 2011. So about 7 years it's in there. Right? It has an 84-year orbit. And it is working its way through your 7th house. What that tells me, without knowing you, is this could be very interesting, good news for your love life. And because Uranus in Aries is wanting to, Uranus is, we call it the awakener. Okay, we call it the awakener or the rejuvenator. And it's in Aries. It's like wanting new energy, new action.
Sounds great. I have a lot of decisions to make about how many long trips to go on in the next 6 months or so.
Okay.
And it could be anywhere from about 3 to about 6. And 6 seems like kind of too much. And is there any reason I should go on every trip that I could go on?
So I can see that more opportunities are coming to you. I mean, no question. And and travel would be one of them. However, you don't have to take everything that comes along, right? And there's more of a relaxing into some of this. It's here's one thing I'm going to tell you for sure. Is you need to trust your intuition more. And I'm not just saying that as a blanket statement, I'm saying that to you. Because you have planets lining up in such a way that are suggesting that your intuition is opening even more. This could even indicate like a spiritual opening. Some sort of, it could be through a religious study, it could be through an experience, but it's a spiritual opening. It's an opening in that consciousness. This is indicating a lot of intuition. You already are extremely intuitive based on your birth chart. This is tied to the travel question.
Okay, what does that mean?
So this is, I'm not going to say taking it easier. Let me find the words for you.
More time at the spa?
Yes.
And you know what? You know, honestly,